Hello, my dear. Welcome back to the Darren Will podcast. And so today we're going to talk about how to complete the stress cycle and how to regulate your nervous system. So when we think about stress is something that we all face. It's a part of our human experience. So no matter how hard that you try to run from it, how hard that you try to escape it, it's all around us. It's at work, it's at home, it's in our relationships. And many of us, we're stuck in this state of high alert, this heightened state of stress, and it shows up in so many different ways with our minds and how our minds are always racing and hard to turn off our thoughts. Even when we lay down to go to sleep, our bodies sometimes feel tight and feel tense and feeling spiritually empty, feeling exhausted. Our human design, we was not designed to stay in this heightened state all day, every day, and for days on end. And when we stay in this state for too long, it takes a toll on our mental health, on our physical health, and our social health, and even our occupational well-being. So in today's conversation, I want to invite you to get open, to get honest with where you are right now. So right now, where are you? And then also let's start to chart the path forward, this path towards a sense of greater healing, greater wellness, a greater sense of peace and joy and calm. Today, we're going to explore what the fight-flight response is and why we find ourselves getting stuck in this state of being. We're going to look at the symptoms of chronic stress on your mind, on your body, and on your spirit. We're going to learn how to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. So that's where we feel calmer. And we're going to learn why rest and gentle movement can help you to release any tension, any stress, and any things that are stored in your body and in your nervous system. And as we wrap up today, I've got a few action steps that you can take to complete the cycle so you can feel relief starting today. So you can feel more balanced, more connected, and more whole. All right, let's get into it. So this talk today about completing the stress cycle, it would be incomplete if we didn't start with defining what is the stress response, what is the fight and flight response. And so let's start by defining what happens when we go into this fight or flight mode and how it's activated in our mind and our body. So when we think about our bodies are so fearfully and wonderfully made. Within every one of us is an innate desire to survive. Our autonomic nervous system is one of the many complex ways of how we're wired to survive. And embedded within the system is the sympathetic nervous system, which contains our fight or flight response. And this response, it kicks in when we perceive. So our perception is a key word. So when we perceive a threat, so whether it's something that is real or whether it's a false belief that you have imagined. So the stories that we tell ourselves. And again, it's all about survival. We're wired for survival. So your body is still going to respond to the same stressor the same way. So whether you perceive it and think about it in your mind, again, making a mountain out of a molehill, or actually when it's a true threat, your body's going to respond. So your heart's going to beat faster. Your breath is going to become very irregular. Your blood pressure is going to increase. Your muscles are going to get super tight, super tense. Your eyes, your pupils are going to start to dilate. Your digestion is going to start to slow down. And your body is going to start to flood with tons of adrenaline and tons of cortisol to help you to respond to whatever perceived stressor that you're encountering. And so when we think about adrenaline and cortisol, so cortisol is the stress hormone. And so when you think about cortisol, many times we have this desire for sugar to kind of replace all of the energy that we're expending when we have this rush of adrenaline, this rush of cortisol. And so just kind of paying attention to what's your body craving, what is your body needing, what is your body sensing. And so paying attention to that. Many times this stress response is happening so quickly that we don't have time to think our way out of it. So cognitively, that's a cognitive process to be able to think your way to resolve an issue. And so when we think about how we're wired for survival, some people will go into a fight response as their default mode of responding, and others may go into a flee response. So fight meaning maybe I'm fighting physically, like really fighting, duking it out, or maybe I'm fighting internally. And so dealing with like internal anger and stress and like holding that in internally or arguing out externally. Fleeing, some people may respond with a default response of fleeing. So fleeing is, I got to get away, I got to escape. And so escaping in your mind or escaping the environment that you're stuck in. And so those are some different ways that people can respond when we think about the stress response. And in these two examples, the fight or flight are examples of the hyperarousal. So hyperarousal, that is this hyper way, very active way of responding to stress or anxiety or any perceived stressor. But the opposite of that is hypoarousal. So hypoarousal is this lower way of disconnecting, almost like dissociating. So just disconnecting, really low mood, really low movement as well. And so hypoarousal, we get into maybe a freeze or a fawn response. And so fawn is more of like a people pleasing, when you think about a fawn response and kind of like making yourself small, diminishing yourself. A freeze response, so freezing, we could freeze externally. And so like physically, I can't move, like I'm frozen with fear or frozen with shame or frozen with shock, like I just can't move physically. Or it could be internally, I'm freezing and I'm dissociating. So dissociating means to check out. It means, and honestly, we all do this, checking out from time to time. And so checking out and dissociating looks like gaps of moments of time that is missing in your timeline. And so, for example, how about you're driving to work and then you get there and like, how did I get here? And so you've kind of been almost on autopilot the whole day, or when you're in a conversation and somebody starts talking and then you totally lose yourself in the time, place, and setting of when the conversation is taking place. And so you lose yourself in that moment. And so that's this freeze dissociation type of response. And so fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And so thinking about all these different ways that we respond to stressors when we feel threatened. And so what our body is trying to tell us is it's trying to find a way to protect itself. It's trying to find a way to feel safe. It's trying to find a way to feel some level of comfort and some level of control. And so if you find that you're stuck in any of these different states that we're talking about today, I want you to know that there's no shame. Your body and your mind is just doing the best that it can to keep you safe. And so let's honor that. So I'm curious for you today, what is your default way of responding to stress? Is it fight? Is it flight? Is it freeze? Is it fawn? So, for example, when you get an email, when you're faced with a tight deadline at work, when you get an expensive bill in the mail, so a medical bill, when you have an argument with a family member or a friend, when you're struggling and dealing with burnout, or you just received some bad news. How does your nervous system respond? So checking in with your body, checking in with your mind. What's going on? Where are you at? Are you in that fight, flight, freeze, or fawn? Like, where are you at? And so checking in with that for a moment. So why do we get stuck in this fight or flight response? So let's take a moment just to unpack some of that. So for survival's sake, The fight and flight response, it's meant only to be temporary. It's meant to only be like a short burst of energy with a hope that we're going to come down to a sense of calm, to a sense of equilibrium. But for many of us, that calm, it never comes. Or if it does come, it comes for just a little while and it doesn't stay long because we find ourselves getting stuck and sucked back into a fear loop and planning all the million and one what ifs and dreading the fear of like the future. So the future of, well, I can't enjoy this moment because I'm worried about what's going to happen next. And so you can't even just enjoy being in the present. And so always worried about the other shoe, worrying about if the other shoe is going to drop and when it's going to drop. You're holding your breath. And just the honest piece of it is we're not designed to stay stuck in a hyper state all the time. When we get stuck in a chronic stress mode, cycling through moments of anxiety, overthinking, irritability, burnout, exhaustion, anger, when we get stuck in all these different cycles, we're stuck in the stress response. We're stuck in the sympathetic stress response, the sympathetic nervous system. And so what we got to do is find a way to release that out of our body, out of our nervous system. But let's think about, why do we get stuck in this cycle? The answer is we get stuck in this cycle because we rarely complete the stress cycle. So we escape it for a little bit and then we're right back into it. And so instead of completing the stress cycle, we try to numb our way out of it. So numb our mind, our body, and our spirit. We reach for whatever's handy, whatever can be distracting, whether it's a person or a relationship, whether it's drugs, whether it's exercising, whether it's sex, whether it's over spiritualizing things. We reach for things to just numb it, just to get the stress, just to get the pain to go away. But you know what? It doesn't go away because you haven't dealt with it. And so I think we just never honestly give ourselves permission to sit and just be still. Sit in the stillness of the emotion, sit in the stillness and the truth of how our body's feeling. And not trying to escape it, not trying to get a quick Band-Aid fix it, and just listen to what your body's trying to say. What is your spirit trying to communicate? So giving ourselves, our mind, our body, and our spirit permission to process all this stuff. And if you need somebody to process that with, get a good coach. So you can reach out to me at info@darrenwell.com, but you can also check out a local therapist in your area and get someone to walk through this with you. But take some time to be honest and process all the stuff so you can truly let it go instead of carrying all these bags with you throughout life. Aren't you tired of holding on to all those bags? Really? Aren't you tired? Aren't you ready to let it go? Isn't the weight on your shoulders so heavy at this moment that you've been holding on to it for day after day, year after year, decade after decade? It's time to be free. It's time to release all that energy that you've stored up from all those experiences in your life. All the energy that's attached to the stressors, the triggers, the things that activate you so quickly. And many times, and again, no shame, because many of the times these things are happening unconsciously, like below our sense of awareness, which is why sitting still helps to increase that level of awareness. You can't change something that you're not aware of. So I say that all the time. But many of us wear that I'm the strong one as a badge of honor and just push through. There's no joy, there's no badge, there's no crown for just pushing through. And what happens is when we don't deal with that stuff and we just laugh about it or smile about it or numb it out, or I'm going to pray about it, but I'm really going to pray and then I'm going to pick it right back up. All that stress, it gets trapped into our nervous system. It gets trapped into our minds and our bodies. So let's get real and talk about what it actually looks like. And when you're finding yourself stuck in the stress response. So some of the symptoms of the stress response and when you're finding yourself in the sympathetic nervous system. So in our mind, for example, you may feel super anxious. You may feel super depressed. You may feel super irritable, like easily irritable from either people or situations. You might find that your mind, when you're anxious, that you're always fearful, always worried, always having the racing thoughts. You might find difficulty with concentrating. So you might be labeling yourself as ADHD, but maybe it's, hey, I haven't dealt with the stress appropriately. I haven't dealt with the trauma appropriately. I haven't dealt with whatever things that I've accumulated through life, these experiences. I haven't found a way to truly let them go. So I'm having difficulty with concentrating, which looks like focus issues. I'm feeling overwhelmed easily by little things. Yes, by big things, but little things are easily setting you off to make you feel irritable and overwhelmed. Stuck with, I can't make a decision. Stuck with negative self-talk or overly catastrophizing everything. So making a mountain out of a molehill. So like everything is like worst case scenario. And when you think about in your body, so in your body, you might notice, again, tightness within your muscles, especially in your jaw. So there's a lot of different nerve endings that run through our face. The vagus nerve has different offshoots that runs through our face. We might notice tightness or tension in our shoulders, in our neck. We might notice that we have a headache often when we think about the stress response or a stressor. Digestive issues, so difficulty with, so there's a great connection with and correlation with our gut connected to our brain. And so that's connected through our vagus nerve. And so when you think about the vagus nerve, like that's how if we can use any vagal tone exercises, and so I'll be teaching some of those in the Sacred Rest Wellness Retreat. So you're welcome to learn more about that. But digestive issues, high blood pressure, feeling fatigue, and so just feeling super worn out, thinking about issues with sleep. So difficulty with sleeping, difficulty falling asleep, difficulty staying asleep, difficulty like with waking up in the middle of the night, difficulty with waking up and not feeling fully rested. So those are different things that you can notice in your body when you think about, am I stuck in a stress response? And so in the spirit, and so spiritually thinking, so we are not just a physical being, we're spiritual beings. And so we might feel a disconnection from deep sense of feeling, so deep sense of love, deep sense of joy and happiness, deep sense of purpose, deep sense of meaning. So feeling disconnection from those deep sense of feelings. You might feel emotional numbness. You might feel difficulty being in the present moment, so stuck too far in the future where we think about anxiety and fear rests there. When you think about sometimes being stuck too far in the past, so thinking about grief, a loss, of course, death, when you think about loss, when you think about just feelings of low mood and depression, many times that is like in the past and not in the present moment. Difficulty feeling safe in your body, in your mind, emotionally, difficulty feeling safe in relationships or in places. So these are things that you can notice when you feel disconnected or in the sympathetic nervous system, so stuck in that stress response in your body. And so I've said it a million times today and I'll keep saying it, but I want you to feel no shame. If any of this starts to hit home, if any of this starts to feel true to you, if you know better, you can do better, right? And so that's what today is supposed to be about. Just getting more information so you can know that find where you're at right now, but also start to chart a path to how can I heal? How can I grow? What are the resources that I need? What are the people in my life that I need to have to be connected to? And so if you're nodding your head as we're going through today's episode and just like, yep, that's me. That's me. Just know that you're not alone. Just know that you're not broken. Just know that there is hope. I want you to know that your body is doing exactly what it was designed to do. It's trying to keep you safe, my friend. It's trying to find a way back to safety, back to balance. So now that we've talked about ways to define what the stress response is, and we've talked about ways to recognize how we feel stress in our bodies, let's think about how we can recover. And so how we can activate the parasympathetic nervous system. So that's part of our body that helps us to regulate and come back down and calm ourselves. So how do we want to reset the nervous system? How do we complete the stress cycle? So that's kind of our topic today, how to complete the stress cycle. So the answer lies in activating your parasympathetic nervous system. So also known as your rest and digest mode. And so the parasympathetic nervous system, it's designed to return your mind, to return your body back to a state of balance, back to a state of equilibrium, back to a state of calm after you've encountered and dealt with whatever stressor that you've had. When the parasympathetic nervous system, it's engaged, when it's activated, your heart rate starts to slow down to a regular resting rate. Your blood pressure starts to decrease. So what you could do when you think about tracking your symptoms is, what is your resting heart rate? And so if you have a smartwatch, like, start tracking that. Start tracking your blood pressure. Like, you don't have to be super rigid about it and check it like every day, because that would not help you. But try to be really intentional to track it at least once a week, if not every other day. And so just kind of checking on yourself, checking into your body, tuning into your body. And so thinking about other ways when you can know that the parasympathetic nervous system is engaged and activated is your stress and anxiety, it starts to dissipate. So not to say that everything's all rainbow and roses and no things are going wrong, but even when things are stressful, you can still respond with a sense of calm, with a sense of peace. Your muscles will start to relax and calm. Your breath will start to be more regular. You'll start to salivate. And so that's, again, when that rest and digest system is kicking in. So your digestion starts to resume appropriately. So if you're not having regular bowel movements, if your digestion is totally off, then that's that vagus nerve. Again, that connection from your gut all the way up into your brain, where we're noticing, hey, we're off balance. And so another way that you can notice that your parasympathetic nervous system is activated, you feel safe. Do you feel safe emotionally in relationships, at your job, and home, at different places in the community that you're finding yourself? Do you feel safe emotionally? Do you feel safe physically? Do you feel grounded? Do you feel comfortable to be your true and authentic self? That's when you know that you're grounded in the parasympathetic nervous system. But that's exactly what true healing looks like. That is where your body can truly recover, can regulate itself, and can find new ways to restore itself. The truth is, you have the power within you. You have the power to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. That system that, again, as said, is connected with our vagus nerve. And so that gut and brain connection. And so you have the power to activate that parasympathetic nervous system. So we'll talk about some ways to complete the stress cycle and some practical steps that you can take today to get moving to complete that stress cycle. So some practical tools that you can take today to move the energy from your body, from your nervous system, to totally discharge it and to signal to your brain and your body that you're ready to release it and let it go. So here's some tools that we can use starting today. So something as simple as just gentle movement. So gentle movement can look like taking a mindful nature walk, doing some gentle stretching. So maybe it's not like full yoga, downward dog movements, but maybe it's just I'm doing a gentle stretch and just kind of stretching it out for just a moment. And so maybe it's something as simple as that. So stretching your arms, bending within reason, stretching your back. Maybe it's turn up some music and just dancing and being silly in your kitchen. Maybe it's shaking your body for just a moment, just kind of discharging that negative energy, those negative emotions, those negative thoughts, those negative beliefs, those negative experiences that's been stored in your body, to just release it. And movement is your best friend. It's the quickest way. It's one of the fastest ways to kind of release stored energy, stored stress. And so not like heavy like walking, like where you're doing a long run or something like that, unless you like to run. And it doesn't have to be super intense. The idea is that it's simple, gentle movement. So movement reminds your body that I'm safe now. Whatever stressor that I was dealing with, that is in the past. Even though the past was maybe 2 seconds ago, presently, I'm safe now. I'm in control now. I'm in control of my emotions. I'm in control of my body. I'm in control of the situation. And so reminding your body and your mind that I'm physically safe, I'm emotionally safe. The next practical step you can take is breath work. So simply just breathing. So my friend, I know that you know how to breathe, because if you didn't, you'd be dead. But just really being intentional with your breath. And so just calming yourself with your breath. So just slow, mindful, deep abdominal breathing. And so that's the quickest way to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. Again, activating that vagus nerve using your vagal tone. And so you can just repeat slow, deep abdominal breaths just a few times. And in between each breath, I want you to take a few seconds just to pause in between. And with the deep breaths, I want you to be telling yourself that, again, I'm safe, I'm in control. It's okay to relax now. It's okay to calm down. I'm doing the best that I can. And so just affirming yourself with the truth, with love, with kindness, with gentleness. And so slow, deep breaths. And so let's take a couple deep breaths together. And so deep breath in. Hold it for a moment. And a nice, strong out breath with your mouth. And then we'll just pause for a moment. And then we'll do one more breath. And so you can do this with your eyes open or closed. And so let's do one more breath. So deep breath in. Hold it for a moment. And a nice, strong out breath with your mouth. Good job. Good out breath. Good out breath. So the next practical step I would encourage you to do is journaling. So journaling, it's a powerful way to release what you have stored as energy in your body from life experiences, from emotions to thoughts to beliefs to behaviors, actions, all of the things. And so noticing, and as you're externalizing and writing it on pen and paper, you're able to externalize and let go and just notice with gentleness, with kindness, but finding new ways to just release it and let it go with pen and paper, just noticing some of the emotions. So maybe you use a prompt of, what's the story that I'm telling myself? Maybe you use a prompt to, what is my body trying to tell me today? So tuning into your body, the wisdom that your body holds is so valuable. Maybe you want to tune into what's the stress that I'm holding on to and why. So getting curious. Maybe you're curious about what helps me stay safe and what helps me to stay grounded. Not only what helps me to stay safe, but who. So maybe it's a safe person, maybe it's a safe place, maybe it's a safe thing. What are the things that make me feel safe and make me feel grounded? And so the next step I would like to encourage you is maybe it's coaching, maybe it's getting a good counselor. And honestly, at different junctions of our life, we all need some support. We all need help navigating this crazy world that we call life, with all the ups, with all the downs, with all the in-betweens, all the blah, just all the things. And so finding ways to use either a good coach or a good counselor to help you to navigate some of the different stressors that you're encountering, the different traumas, the different anxiety, the different worries, all the burnout. And a good coach, a good therapist, they're going to help you to understand your nervous system. They're going to help you to develop tools that are personalized just to fit you, personalized just to fit your lifestyle, and personalized to help you to work through all the deep emotional mindset patterns that you've set up that have kept you stuck for so long, and to help you to find ways to regulate your mind, body, and find ways to get unstuck of that stress response. And honestly, it takes a strong person. So not a weak person. It takes a strong person to seek out help. So there's no shame. There's no shame. There's no pride. There's no fear that should keep you from feeling free. The fullness of freedom, the fullness and the abundance of joy and peace and just total well-being that's on the other side of being stuck in this hyper stress response. So I want to invite you to the Sacred Rest Retreat. So if you want something different, you're going to have to be willing to do something different. And so rest, when we think about the power of rest, it's necessary in order to balance, to find balance, to be able to grow personally and professionally. When you think about our culture is so fixated on, hey, work more, do more, keep pushing yourself more, way past exhaustion to the point where you're in sheer burnout mode. But my dear, your body, it was not designed to stay in a chronic stress mode, in a chronic stress state. We all need to find more ways to create and carve out space for rhythms of rest. And sacred rest, that's just what it is. It's going to be space and time that I'm carving out for you just to restore, to find ways to recover, and new tools to regulate your nervous system. We'll do some vagal tone exercises, so ways to kind of tune into your body. And so let's rethink the concept of rest. So rest, it's not just about sleep, but it's all about lying down and relaxing. Rest is about not trying to earn it. So not feeling like I have to do all the things to earn a vacation or do all the household chores or take care of everybody else before I take a moment to just really rest my mind and my body. But it's about giving yourself permission to do nothing without the weight of guilt. Rest is about being in nature and just observing the rhythms of nature, the sounds of nature, the colors of nature, the smells of nature. So a full sensory experience, a full-on sensory experience. It's about spending time being creative. It's about taking time to be spiritually connected to the people, the places, the things that fill your cup up, that fill your soul with so much joy, with so much awe. Rest is about saying no. So saying no without the need to explain yourself. So having good boundaries. So for those that are looking for ways to reset their nervous system, I got you. In a couple of weeks, I'm hosting an online mindfulness and wellness retreat. It's the Sacred Rest online retreat. It's a gentle way to kind of guide yourself through experiences designed to help you to reconnect with your body, designed to help you to regulate your nervous system. So we talked about the vagus nerve, the connection with your gut, with also your brain, and to return back to a sense of peace and calm. This retreat, it's going to be more than just relaxation, but it's also going to be about total restoration. I'm going to help you with using gentle movement techniques, breath work, reflection prompts, and just community, just to help you to find ways to complete the stress cycle and truly release and let go and return back to balance and let go of this feeling of stress and stuckness. So if you're feeling depleted or you're stuck in that survival mode, I invite you to join me. You can check it out, the details, at darrenwell.com/retreat. And that's darrenwell.com/retreat. And you can also see the link in the show notes. I encourage you not to do life alone. I encourage you to bring a friend. So you can get 2 tickets for the price of 1 if you use coupon code FRIEND2025. And so that's friend in all caps 2025. All right, I hope to see you there. So before we wrap up today, I just want to remind you that you're not weak. You're not weak from feeling overwhelmed. You're not failing because your nervous system is dysregulated. You're simply human, and that's completely normal and completely okay. Your body is just trying to it's screaming, trying to get your attention. It wants you to help find ways to complete the stress cycle. And so completing the stress cycle, it's not going to be a one-time fix. It's going to be about creating regular rhythms of rest. It's going to be about having a healthy and an honest relationship with yourself and having a commitment to listen to your body. So tuning into your body. What does your body need? What does your body want? And listen into your body instead of just pushing past exhaustion and just keep pushing yourself harder and harder. It's not about being perfect because Lord knows none of us are perfect. But it's all about small and intentional steps that you're taking every day. And so showing up for yourself every day, honestly, authentically, just being your true and authentic self. It's about starting today. And so I encourage you to start today, not next week. I encourage you to speak kindly to yourself starting today. I encourage you to move your body gently every day, starting today. I encourage you to breathe in deeply and out deeply, starting today, so that you can let go of some of that stress, let go of some of that anxiety. I encourage you to write down what you're feeling instead of just bottling it up and just holding on to it, but truly letting it go, writing it down. I encourage you to create micro breaks during your day so that you can rest and invite in more moments for rest as if your life depended on it. And you know what? Your life really does depend on you creating rhythms of rest. My dear, you're worthy of rest. You're worthy of healing. You are so powerful, super powerful. You're powerful enough to reset and rest and begin again as many times as you need to during the day. All right, that's it for today's episode. Thank you for stopping by the Darren Will Podcast. Until next time, keep living, keep loving, and keep Darren well. Take care, my dear. God bless.